After completing my BSc biochemistry, I wanted to do something in management that they want to be in HR because of communication or good with people relates to HR. It's empathy that is with HR, right? Supervisor is a HR because HR could have 14,000 employees as part of the company, but a supervisor has not more than 20 people reporting. So the supervisor has to be number one. Don't stop as soon as you achieve one thing or two things and don't wait for people to give you a pat on your back.
Hi everyone, welcome to I'm a Recruiter podcast. I'm your host Prafulla Deori and I'm thrilled to have you with us today. I'm a Recruiter is more than just a podcast. It's a movement by and for talent acquisition professionals. We are here to shake things up and help traditional recruiters evolve to a trusted talent advisor. Our vision is to build the most influential global community for TA professionals and you are part of it. If you are getting value out of our content, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, share, and also let us know what you think in the comment section below. Let's build the community together. With this, it's time to invite special guest. So today we have a senior person, Arun. So Arun is a CHRO of ADASAN Technology, a seasoned HR leader with over 23 plus years of experience in human resource training and consulting. Arun is a strategic thinker and a thought leader known for his ability to influence, advise leaders in organizational development and fostering high performance work culture. With expertise in spanning ITES, banking, manufacture, edutech, and consulting, he has successfully built HR functions and teams from ground up, driving global strategy, employee engagement, and retention. Arun holds multiple certification in HR leadership, analytics, and behavioral hiring, and has been recognized with awards like CHRO Excellence in Building High Performance Culture and DEI Leader of the Year. So today we will deep dive into Arun's career, Arun's journey, leadership insights, and strategy for aspiring HR professionals. So once again, really grateful, Arun, to have you in I Am Recruiter podcast. We are really excited to know about your journey, about your experience. So once again, welcome and thank you so much for your time, Arun.
Thank you, Praful. I think you read my entire profile in just 2 minutes. Thank you. It's a pleasure to hear my achievements. Thank you once again for calling me for this podcast and a privilege to be in this session. My story goes like this. After completing my BSc biochemistry, I wanted to do something in the management area. So I thought MBA would be an ideal course to navigate my career. So keeping that thought in mind, I approached my college principal with a distinction in my graduation. I thought it would be an easy task for me to get myself admitted in MBA. Apparently, I was wrong. And when I approached my principal, he said that, hey, Harun, you're from the second batch of BSc Biochemistry from this college, and you've got really good scores, top two of my subjects in my final year. With these scores, we want you to focus on yourself into biochemistry or molecular biology or microbiology, which was starting to get on the visible lines in the year 2000. So he was very particular about that. And I clearly stated my career prospects, my focus and my interest, which is into managing businesses and building companies, even in the year 2000s. So conversations went for a long time and he was very particular to give me admissions only in MSc biochemistry or microbiology or molecular biology. So after a few conversations, I had to approach my uncle, who's been a great mentor to me. And I told him, this is what is happening in my college. He had to talk to the principal, and parents were also in line with whatever the principal thoughts were, because even though I got really good scores, they felt that it would be an ideal place for me to start my career and build my career in microbiology or biotech. My uncle came to the college, spoke to the principal. My principal wasn't happy because he thought that I would have brought my parents. And when he saw my uncle, the first reaction was Arun had brought someone else from his family or his friend's circle to help him get a seat in MBA. He denied, even though my uncle spoke. Then I had to go to the college secretary. I spoke to a reference from my college. And apparently he understood that I was very keen in getting into MBA. So when I got through the college secretary's reference to the principal, my principal really liked the way I approached because he, for one, thought that I was very keen in getting into MBA. I was a kind of person who wouldn't accept no for an answer when I had a focus and when I want something to achieve on the right lines. So my principal really admired that. He acknowledged my third attempt. He said, okay, you'll go ahead and give you a seat in MBA. After getting into my MBA, my first semester had organizational behavior and OR, operations research. Principal, let's take one of the chapters in OB, organizational behavior, and most of the chapters in OR, operations research, he was the professor. So he said, Arun, I know how you came to MBA. So I usually sit at the last bench So time this class starts, he'll say, Arun, why don't you come and sit in the front? So I took that as a challenge and opportunity. Okay. I started sitting in the first bench. From the second class, I generally come and sit in the first bench so that he doesn't call out my name. And I wanted to make that as a practice and starts seeing whatever he wants me to be or become. So the practice began like that. And after 2 or 3 classes, he would usually do one sum, and the second sum he'll ask the entire class to do. For a change, what he did was the second sum he'll ask me to do in the board while others are doing it in their notebooks. I come from a non-maths background, and QT were subjects which were more easy or which was more relatable by engineering students. I was again part of a very few team from MBA who were not part of BE or BTech for that matter. And again, learning was something which was always it was a passionate thing that I generally do even now. So OR, I was able to capture, I was the class topper in the school, in the college exams. And the second semester came where we had quantitative techniques in business. And once again, the principal was the professor for QP. So as soon as I knew that he was a professor for this batch, I started coming and sitting in the first bench. I knew once he did the first sum, I'll be called up to do the second sum on the board. It continued for some time and I was able to showcase whatever he was expecting. And yes, I was able to successfully complete my MBA in 2001. Post completing my MBA, I was actually looking for a job opportunity in HR because HR was something that I was passionate about. I wanted to start my journey in HR was something that I was very focused about. September 9/11 went and job market crashed. So I was running my friend's business. I was part of his HR team trying to learn what HR does on a practical note, the challenges, how few things are managed on a small business setup. I didn't want to waste my time. So I simultaneously did my post-graduation diploma in human resources management through Pondicherry University. It's a twinning program. Pondicherry University and the Loyola College had a tie-up. It was a weekend class session. So I enrolled for that, started learning more about HR in detail. And I was also upskilling myself, which helped me to get a job, but not in HR, but into business operations. Alsec was the company which gave me an offer at that time to get into their operations role. During the interview, the final interview specifically, the vice president and the head of operations, the HR and operations was the person who interviewed. Got an offer from 2 other organizations at that time, but apparently I chose to join Alsec for 2 reasons. One, the way they conducted the interview. They kept reiterating the jobs, roles, and responsibilities. That I liked it because usually when we do an interview, it is the first call we talk about the roles and responsibilities, and we tend to focus on the skill matching or the profile matching with the requirement. And then we extend the offer and then we onboard the person. Apparently, there were 3 levels of interviews at Alsec. All 3 levels, I met 3 different people and they ensured that they reiterated the roles and responsibility. They reiterated certain facts like working in night shift, how easy or how difficult it is, how someone should cope up, and what are the expectations from the business for the first 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year. And the final interview, as I said, it was done by the vice president of HR and operations. This denoted the importance of someone joining the team. Nowadays, we get to see major HRs or the business team lead will doing the final interviews. For a couple of reasons, or it could be as simple as the decides who has to be in the team, or the vice president decides who is going to join their team. You can look at it in various ways. So when the vice president himself did the interview, it was a surprise, but still I had the energy and passion to join because I shouldn't wait for more time. That is number one, because the next set of pass outs would be coming out and they would become the competition for me. And there would be more competition in the market. After a few analysis, I joined Alsec. I did not, and I still do not regret joining Alsec for multiple things because after joining Alsec, there is with the leadership meet that is organized on a monthly basis. And this happens in 2 phases. One with all the new joiners, and number two is more like a town hall for the experienced people or someone who's been with the organization for 3+ months. So when the first opportunity came for me to meet the management, there are a few things that I asked them. I really love the way the team did the hiring process. But why would a vice president of HR and operations spend his time hiring someone at the entry level position and not spend time or focus on the strategic initiatives? The CEO responded to me, it's a fantastic question, but you need to understand the business head needs to know who's joining his team so that he will know how the business is going to be driven. When I hire people with post-graduation degrees or when I hire someone with multiple factors, it is an opening for the organization to use their skills, manage their skills, and at the same time, build the business in a way that we can focus on multiple areas using their skills. Recruitment is not just about hiring a person or filling a position. Yes. So these things opened up to me as I started my journey with Alsec. So you learn every day. You learn a lot of things with your colleagues or through your experience, through your friends that they experience in other organizations, and also through your management when you ask the right questions. That is important. I could have been a silent spectator on the day, had a coffee with the vice president or the CEO, taken few photos, posted on Facebook or Orkut at that time, to build a relationship. But I had few things in my mind because I wanted to understand how certain things are navigate on the organization front. So those questions opened up a lot of avenues. So during the final interview, yes, I told the organization I wanted to be part of HR. And when I started asking relevant questions during my tenure with ALSEC, it gave me a lot of opportunities to work along with the HR team, even though I was part of the operations team. Whenever we had hiring requirements, the entire HR team, which were about 3 or 4 people, they used to travel simultaneously. In a couple of weeks, I never used to see HRs at all in the office because when I asked them what happened, they mentioned that they travel to Ooty, they travel to Coimbatore, or Ernakulam or Hyderabad for that matter to hire people for our voice-based hiring requirements. I started connecting with the HR on the second or third month, telling them that, yeah, I know you guys are having a challenging time in terms of hiring people because the business has a lot of need and businesses feel bad when they have enough on their plate, but they're not able to bring people into the business. So that's a situation where most of the business would not like to be in. So keeping that in mind, I told the HR manager that I would like to support them during the day because I work in 2 shifts in the night. It was a privilege given to me because they had shifts and I was given a privilege to decide whichever shift that I want to be part of. I can still work in those shifts and contribute to the business operations for the role that I've been hired. And during the day, I told the HR if there are any campuses happening in Chennai or in the office, if they find me to be an ideal fit, I can support them on the day-to-day hiring requirements in Chennai. So what we did was we were 4 of us in the business. We said we will take turns in terms of taking the day-to-day hiring requirements for the business during the day. And I would continue on one shift, whereas my colleagues would do it similar way. They will go to campuses and one day I will go to a campus and we will take different shifts that we work in. This really impressed the business because we were able to manage our roles effectively and also support HR in hiring. These were some things that we transparently displayed are our ability to manage. So we had the age at that time and we also had enough time. Even though I was a very fond person in terms of to first day for show to any movies that get released or playing snooker for that matter in the evenings along with my friends, I used to schedule my day in such a way that my career is starting to grow in a positive way where I spend time. At the same time, I did not leave out on my friends to go watch a movie or play snooker for that matter for a couple of hours in the evening or a weekend. And at the same time, I wasn't married. So young blood. My parents were take care of routine at home. Whenever required, I used to pitch in. This is how I started my career. Then I got into HR. There are a lot of things that we don't explicitly say. We don't talk about the struggles. We don't talk about the extra hours that we put in. We only talk about the hours I put in and what I missed or I did not. I took that as a learning. There's always a miss that the organization has. There's always a miss that an individual has. But how those misses taught you? What are the learnings you got from that? How are you able to convert that into a learning and how are you able to orient your team members saying, hey, there are going to be misses. You are not going to shoot every other target that is going to come. There are going to be targets that you will miss, but how do you raise up and meet the next target? What are the things that you do to raise up? Definitely matters. This is how the journey started. In 2 years, I was promoted to vice at ALSEC. That gave me more motivation for me. Okay. After getting into HR, I was given, ALSEC had their first position. And from HR, I was the only person to manage the end-to-end of that acquisition on the HR front. Minimal experience in mergers and acquisitions. I learned the founders were chartered accountants. They were professionals. I used to sit with them, understand how certain things are done. I used to connect with my industry friends and learn how a merger or acquisition is done, how people are transferred from one entity to another entity. How should your policies relate? How should your HR transparency behave? What are your vision and mission? How are your values? How is it going to relate to the new organization? Or should you build something else different for the new entity on the floor? We were only in Tamil Nadu at that time. We operated from Chennai and Tiruchi. We went to Bangalore. Culture is different. People are different. Policies are different. We had a very strong dress code culture at ALSEC. When we came into Bangalore, we said we will scrap it, knowing the culture of how youngsters work. We had a strong hiring requirement of saying you have to be a graduate to join ALSEC. We relaxed that. We said, okay, for Bangalore crowd, yes, someone who is doing their graduation, yes, we will go ahead and hire you if you're doing your part-time graduation. And now I kind of hear that we hire people who have done their 10th or 12th, knowing how their skill really matters, right? The journey or the travel that I would say was eye-opening because we didn't want to be rigid. The organization didn't want to be rigid. We said, yes, we would be flexible provided your skills or your deliverables meet and our requirements meet your expectations. We wanted to shake hands with people with whom we felt we get that. We call the word vibe now, but at that time it was a cultural.
Great, great. I think very inspiring journey starting from your college days to how you have grown. One thing definitely what I can learn from your journey, we should always focus on upscaling ourselves. Plus, we should have the hunger to learn and prioritize things if we want to grow in their career. So thanks so much for sharing your stories so far. I have a couple of questions for you. But before we start, just wanted to know a little bit more background, or like were you born and brought up in Chennai itself, or like you were born and brought up in some other place, then moved to Chennai? Just wondering.
I'm from Chennai, born and brought up in Chennai. I did my schooling in St. Lee's Anglo-Indian High Secondary School up to my 10th. 11th, 12th from Bangladesh matriculation. Then 5 years of my college, which is my undergraduation, post-graduation from Duchi Vaishnav. And then I started my career in Chennai and continue to work in Chennai.
Great, great. And as a student, how were you? Were you a very studious student?
Very playful, but yet managed to get my marks because ultimately said more than my parents, my uncle was a great mentor. And on my paternal side, they are the ones who generally come to the school for a PTA or any other cause that is parents to come to office and school. I was not a very bright student, I would say, but I used to get my scores and percentage. When it came to the college, that's when I realized how certain things flick in terms of your scores, in terms of your association. Because until school, it is all about what you do as an individual and how you navigate yourself to 11th, 12th. But when it comes to college, every other score or every other article you write or papers you publish really matters. And that is what brings your name to the limelight. And not just the limelight, it also goes to the principals, it goes to multiple departments, and they recognize you at a different level. College, yes, the first year we were started off very playful. Most of the classes I used to take permissions, I used to spend time in the NCC team, and a couple of hours in the evening post college I used to spend in the basketball court and tennis court. My professors helped me to focus. There was a professor called Arun, he's now a doctor. Dr. Saravanan in my graduation. He helped me a lot in terms of finding myself suitable or finding myself accustomed to the college life. He has helped me both professionally and personally on multiple areas. There are times where I've been to his home, saying I couldn't understand a specific subject on molecular biology, and he has helped me out. So not just me, there are many students in the college. It was not a tuition session, by the way. It was a personal session that he used to support few students who approach him directly. And his expertise not just opened people's vision to pursue biochemistry or molecular biology as their PG, but at the same time was able to build more relationships in the college than any other professor that I've seen till now. Even my PG again, as I said, everybody knows the story now. I was a very bright student, and he ensured that my marks speaks on my behalf. So that is something that I learned from my first year of my BSc, where my marks started speaking about Arun is capable of in terms of learning, in terms of playing whatever he's learned. But at the same time, Arun's focus is into something else, or Arun wants something else because he's passionate about it.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing. So now I have a question for you because you have worked with diverse organization, diverse industry. So what are some of the key HR challenges that remain constant? What has evolved the most and what you still think that it's still the same throughout your journey?
Okay, so it's one of the candidates' response that will be number one. So whenever you hire a fresher for HR, the first thing that you get to ask him is why HR, and they say I'm good at speaking, I'm good at communication, which is you're supposed to be in PR, you're supposed to be in marketing. I convince people you're supposed to be in sales. I love working with people. Then you're supposed to be again in sales or marketing. None of these aspects that people talk or say that they want to be in HR because of communication or good with people relates to HR. It's empathy that is with HR, right? But people do not relate empathy to being part of HR. For me, every supervisor is a HR because HR could have 14,000 employees as part of the company, but a supervisor has not more than 20 people reporting. So the supervisor has to be a number. Number two, what I find not changed the last 20, 23 years is that people want immediate gratification. So I'm not saying it is a wrong, it is good, but don't wait there or don't hang on if you don't get your gratifications immediately. Move on, right? So move on in the sense it's not going to another company. Move on with the next project. Move on with your next achievement. Your gratification will follow you.
Yes.
Right? That's very important. So I've achieved this. I've achieved that. Yes, we are want to achieve certain things or many things for that matter. But don't stop as soon as you achieve one thing or two things, and don't wait for people to give you a pat on your back. That will definitely follow, if not for the first time or second time. Keep achieving things. You don't climb Mount Everest and say you've done one thing. Once you do that, what is there for you to achieve bigger things, right? So keep focusing and keep achieving things. It can be a small thing. It can be a change in someone else's life that you're trying to do. It can be hiring someone for the right job. It can be part of an NGO work, but keep your achievements steady and progressing. Don't wait for the gratification and get a pause. That's number two. Number three, have a clear focus, right? A clear focused mind will help you to navigate yourself more smoothly. And at the same time, when you are focusing on your path, see how people are traveling along with you. Become a leader. So once you become a leader, help your team to grow. For me, a leader is someone who's able to see the future, and he does not alone see that, he helps the team to see that future. most of the leaders are very focused on their growth, their self growth.
Yeah.
Right? So they grow. When they grow, there has to be someone to take the position. What is the point in hiring someone from outside when you have a successor? Right? So you create successors, and once you create successors, your growth automatically follows. I'm very proud because I have a trainee who is now a vice president. I have an intern who is an assistant vice president now in another organization. These things don't just give me a privilege to call and ask them for a favor or get things done. But at the same time, when I say this in this public forum, it helps me to say mentoring is something that needs to be vital with every other team leader, so that his mentoring not just create leaders, it creates more avenues of their thoughts being embedded as a seed, and those seeds grow into big trees, and those trees again give seeds to others.
Exactly. But again, like Arun, it's my personal thing. I just wanted to know. As a leader, definitely we want our team to grow. But again, there are many times that we also have our aspiration to grow. If correctly said that once you upskill your team, then definitely you will grow for sure, right? But then there is so much of competition within the organization that some things you have to prioritize, some things you should leave behind, right? So how to prioritize which things are important, because market is very competitive. You want everything, right? So how did you prioritize yourself so that you have grown in your career? So that how we can also prioritize things, because many of time if we see something outside, try to that is very fancy thing. I should do that. We get attracted to that particular thing, right? Any advice on that?
See, I'll give you again a live example which happened for me at Omega Healthcare. My manager was very particular that all her direct reportees were giving their best for the HR. So there were four HR leaders managing four different aspects of HR, and I was one of the leader there. So what, to answer your question straight, there were competition between the four of us. We were friends. We are still good friends. And when it comes to your deliverables, how do you differentiate your deliverable with others? So what we used to do is we used to do certification programs. We used to undergo training from outside. And this came to us a cycle. So this year, if I was given to do a specific process improvement or a specific target in HR that I have to achieve, I will undergo a specific training or a certification course, understand the relevance of how it is going to impact the objective that is given to me. Then I would come, introduce that particular activity as part of a pilot project. Once that pilot is successful, then we would do it for a bigger crowd. And once that is successful, then we would take it up to the four different locations of the organization. The chance comes to the next person next year, and again, they will have to do a similar thing. When a leader knows that they have to ensure all their team members grow, this is how they do it. They give opportunity to every team member to display their skills, equal platform for them to voice out what their thoughts are, bring all their thoughts together. And at the end of the day, it need not be my thoughts to be the best thoughts to solve a problem. I understand that because all four of us come onto a particular, when we discuss, we know whose thoughts are better. Right? So we focus that and we bring it to a conclusion saying, hey, that person's thought is better than mine.
I agree.
So this doesn't become political. This becomes an open platform for all the four of us to voice out what best solution can I bring to the table, or what best solution others have given finds that they are equally expert in the field that you work. You need to accept certain things. If I do not know, I should accept that I do not know, and I should approach someone to learn that because they are an expert. And again, going to multiple people asking multiple thoughts will only confuse you. Have one person as your mentor and strongly believe in their mentorship and follow. In another organization, we had a similar incident where managers did not want to come together and voice their thoughts. So what I did was I created a program called Team Consult. Right? So this is a program where an organization's challenge is brought to this particular group, where you have all the leaders from different departments, not just within HR, from different departments, saying, hey, one department has this problem. I want all the department heads to tell me how this problem can be solved. Initially, it started off saying, hey, someone has a problem, and they found out who had a problem. They were making things a little challenging for me to implement. After the third or fourth meeting, they understood, hey, I have a problem now. Can I bring it and ask others' point of view? Right? So even though the fourth or the fifth round didn't work, by eighth or ninth round, everybody had a problem and they wanted to bring it to the table and ask other solutions. So team consult became successful.
So my next question for you is, like, this is the most rewarding HR initiative you believe that you have made some kind of impact? I believe there are many, but which is special to you?
See, I strongly believe in talent engagement. When I say talent engagement, it is a life cycle of the employee. So as soon as the employee joins, we created a program saying HRBP Connect. So the first 90 days, 0 to 90 days, the HRBP will connect with the joining group or a new joining member for that matter, depending on the level of rate. So the HR business partner will connect weekly once to understand how the progress happens. So the HR business partner will also connect with the training team or with the operations team to understand how involved the new joiner is. After 3 months, we run a survey. It's called an early engagement survey to understand how did the journey of the employee progress. If there are any gaps, we take it to the respective department, not pointing hands at each other, discussing how those gaps can be addressed to ensure that it doesn't come up in the next survey. So we come up with an action plan. It is not just a survey that we do. So the survey has to be at 85% above score with 99% people participating. So 1% could be because of the attrition, 1% could be because of the absenteeism that is there in the business. So it has to be 99% participation. We come up with an action plan, implement, and at the end of 1 year, we do a survey for the entire employee group of my business vertical. So this survey should reflect the positives of whatever they experience after the action plan is implemented. And while doing this survey, the employee at the end of 1 year gets to connect with the second level of business partnering manager and along with the business team lead to know how his career is going to progress. Because for me, I hire someone that 1 year is the break-even point for me and justice that I do by hiring the person to be on the road. After 1 year, I want the employee to start looking at the growth prospects. So the employee starts to discuss with the HR business partner and the HR and the operations lead to know how his career prospects will look like. What is the career growth he will be into? I did not have a 9-box categorized succession planning. I came up with my own structure, which is a 4-box. And I don't think any organization works on a 4-box model. Whereas my 4-box was very simple, clear indication as to where you are. So with a 4-box model that I have principally brought into the organization and implemented it, employees understood what they need to do to grow, what they need to shift their career and grow, or what they need to get trained on to grow, right? So this career pathing came into the picture for the employee at the end of 1 year tenure. So 1 to 2 years of tenure, during the 1 to 2 years of tenure, the employee will undergo cross-skilling, upskilling initiatives. Some employees would be sharing their work time, 75% of their time on their regular work, 25% of their time with their supervisor's work, so that they get to understand on the reporting and other areas, and they start to grow. 2 years idea for me to initiate internal job opportunities, and these employees get skilled and they don't become a liability for you. So this program on the talent engagement part is something that I enjoyed because a couple of implementations were my own theories and principles, and it has become a huge successes in 3 of the organizations that I work for. Even though one organization, which is a US-based organization, where they were strongly focusing on the 9-box metrics, I gave them my principle and theory on the 4-box metrics. And now, even though I'm not with the organization, they continue to practice the 4-box theory.
So, like when you have some kind of project or principle in your mind, right, theory in your mind, but not all leaders are ready to implement those projects or plan in place, right? As a HR leader, how do you influence your business stakeholders or business leaders?
I don't know how to answer because I've been always privileged to work with leaders or founders who wants to bring new things to the plate. It's
Okay.
not that they don't want old things. They always want process improvements. They want something different that you can do to employees, something additional that you can do. So after my 5 years of being experienced in HR, from the 6th year when I was a team manager, one thing that my manager or my mentor that time, who still is my mentor, told me was, Arun, it is not enough that you continue to do your KRAs or achieve your KRAs alone. Add 1 point to the KRA process improvement person. Right? So now we are talking about AI. Now we are talking about other aspects of AI taking over HR stuff. It's not AI which took or which is going to take HR stuff. Let's look at how HR has evolved. 25 years back, we had personnel department where we used to have one person called a time office person who comes to office, takes your attendance saying whether you were present for the first part of the day. And again, post lunch, he'll come back to see if you are present for the second half of the day. So he used to mark your attendance as P/P. So every day that is his work. Then what he will do is he'll go to the system and then he'll convert that into an next. Over a period of time, we stopped doing that. We said, hey, according to shops, we will have one book. A person will come, sign, and then go. Factory started taking employees' signature for the first half and second half instead of someone doing the job. The role of the job for that person came down to only check if a person has marked or signed their attendance twice in a day. We moved on to a biometric attendance, right? A flash card and then biometric attendance. Now sensors. Now we have systems which geotags your attendance. Now most of the companies don't follow an attendance at all, right? Those are the way or the progress of how attendance has shaped up. Did the time office person lose the job? No. His role has now enhanced to a level where he tracks certain other metrics or certain other aspects. You work 9 hours in a day. What is your deliverable? Those are the data points that they take. I don't want people to just come to office for 9 hours. How has their deliverables impacted for 9 hours of their work or output? So when these things evolve, HR has to keep abreast of certain things that will come in your way and how you use it to enhance certain skills of yours. I encourage my team members to use AI because I do not want them to keep doing their mundane or routine work. Let AI take care of it. My team my HR team, a couple of my team members are freshers. Okay. So they joined as interns and now they've been with the system for about 10, 11 months. And with this team, we run a business for about 200 odd employees here. These youngsters are building a chatbot to run your orientation programs, to run policy related questions. They don't have to meet HR. Yes, they are welcome to meet HR. But if they have a question at 12 o'clock in the night when they work for their client, they don't have to wait till that HR the next day. All they need to do is log into their chatbot and ask chatbot a policy related question and it will give you a response like how a HR would respond. Right? We are trying to minimize the time to give our responses, the turnaround time in terms of the questions and their responses. And at the same time, how can a human touch still continue to be there?
Yeah. Okay. So very fun, light-hearted question for you is, what is one of the misconceptions about HR professional that always people get wrong? Because we all have heard lots of memes, jokes, lots of different stuff. But what is one misconception from your perspective you have heard?
So they look HRs as policies because someone is not wearing their shoes based on dress code. You go tell them, hey, you're not following the policy. So yes, we are expected to do that. But have you done your orientations correctly? Has the employee understood your policies correctly? Have you reiterated it through multiple sources of communications? How effective are your communication channels? If someone is not following, talk to them, understand why he has not followed a particular policy instead of saying, you have followed the policy. So that is number one thing, which is still HR continues to do that. Maybe or the organizations expect them to do, but I'm strongly against that. We are not police. We don't want to be a policy police. We want to be a person who would encourage people to follow the policy and not tend to find mistakes or just to see it as deviate or the deviations instead of why it is deviated. Number one. Number two, I always tell my friends, I was speaking in an HR forum recently and the question is about the new Bharat or how do you see HR in the future? I tell, we are going to be CEOs. I haven't seen a HR becoming a CEO till now.
Yeah.
I have seen marketing people becoming a CEO. I've seen operations people, even a finance person becoming a CEO. But I haven't seen a HR becoming a CEO. That is because we have never been good in numbers. When my CEO is saying, dude, this project is not going good as per my expectations, I should have asked him about a person-related issue. I should be telling him, yeah, I understand. EBITDA is at 15%. We were focusing at 30%. That there is a gap of 15%. Is it because of a skill issue? Is it because of a client who's not able to pay me? Is it because of a delay from the client? I should be able to know that. I should be able to relate myself with the business or with what is giving me the bread and butter. Not just about policies or procedures or growth or a fun at work or giving someone a promotion alternate years. It is not just that for me in nature.
Great. Since you have spoke about, I think CEO, that's very true. We haven't seen CEO from HR, from functions and role and all, right? So definitely looking forward to see more and more CEO or HR person seeing this video and hearing out this video and get the aspiration to become a CEO. So one question for you, Arun, also aspire to become a CEO of an organization someday.
Absolutely, Praful. Yes, it is not just the founder CEO that's always easy to become, but I would definitely be part of the CEO community very soon, being a HR, managing a business as well.
Okay, good to know. Like, we are almost on the time. I have just two more questions for you. So HR is often called a thankless job where people, we feel that people don't thank us and we keep on or doing the jobs for them. So how do you keep yourself motivated and how do you advise all the youngsters or everyone who is in HR to drive impact and keep themselves up to date?
See, as I said, focus is very important, not just in HR, for any career that you are part of, right? So it is not about a thank job or a thankless job. End of the day, you have a focus in your life, which is your career, and you have a target that you want to achieve in a specific role. Keep focusing on that role. Keep upskilling yourself. As I said, don't wait for someone to appreciate you. Don't wait for someone to give a pat on your back. Be that person to your team. So you would at least create followers if you do not have a mentor or if you don't have a leader to do such things for you. I was privileged in certain companies where I had very good bosses to motivate me or tell me, Arun, you have not done the way I expected it to have happened, or they give feedback. So there are companies or instances where my managers never gave me feedback. So I used to go to my manager and ask for feedback because feedback is the only thing that would tell you where you are, what you are, and what is the gap between your current situation and the situation that you've targeted yourself for. That is very important. Ask for feedback. It is not always the person to keep giving feedback. Go ask. A feedback well taken, well implemented is the person who goes the mind to achieve, right? There are always situations that 20 years back, we didn't have air conditioners. Now, you don't see an organization without an air conditioner. You see organizations without fans. Right? So one, which was a motivating factor earlier, is now a hygiene factor.
Yeah. Yeah.
So go on the first year of your stage or your second year of your career stage. Those are the stages where you look for people to give you appreciations. Once you become a manager, you know, hey, I have to give appreciations to my team. Build the team when you are a manager. Don't expect for an appreciation. When your team gets appreciations, you are the person who's building it. And I'm sure you are not going to go out of the limelight.
Yes. Next question for you, Arun, is what advice you would love to give to someone who is starting their career in HR or TA today? Plus, what advice you would love to give I'm a recruiter community? Since we are also very in an early stage, we have just completing 1 year in Feb. So, what advice you have for the HR, TA, and I'm recruiter community?
So for HRs and TAs, keep learning. So always say there is nothing to learn in TA because it is only the hiring principles or hiring processes that the companies follow. But there are things beyond that. A candidate applies for an interview. If the candidate is selected, we go behind the candidate to schedule interviews, ensure that he's attending the interview, taking the offer and joining us. But when a candidate is not selected, we don't even have the courtesy to call the candidate or message the candidate or even send a mail to the candidate saying, hey, you've not been selected because of 1, 2, 3 reasons. Do that because the candidate will get a job elsewhere because of the support or the feedback that you have done. I have done that and I continue to do it even now for two things because I know the difficulty of not getting a job and when you are in between a job break. So personal experiences gives you the best experience. And with that, I'm telling you, please do give feedback to a candidate who's selected or not selected for that matter. Keep maintaining that relationship because they would be a brand ambassador. If a candidate is not selected, you will have all the rights to go back to the candidate, ask for a reference. If you have connected with the candidate saying that you're not selected. If you have not voiced out, you lose an opportunity to connect with them to get further references, right? That is number one. And number two, keep upskilling yourself. We always say nothing much to do with TA. A lot of things to do on the data front. So try to decide with data, not just with your gut feel. Use data to make decisions better in the field of TA, specifically for HR for that matter. A lot of AI tools in the market to simplify your process. Use those AIs to simplify your process, but ensure that you use it with a human and ethical approach and with some kind of, to say, empathy to it. Because we always like a human to say whether I'm selected or not, rather than a robot saying or a message that says yes or no to that. For the HR recruiter group as such, you guys are doing phenomenally well. I've been following you for a very long time. So you guys are doing tremendously well. And if given an opportunity, if it's going to be a live session in February, where you're going to have your community join in a specific place, I'll be privileged to be part of the group and share my wishes, blessings, and guide you to reach further heights.
Thank you so much, Arun. It was a really learning session for me personally, for sure. And I have learned a lot. And I'm sure that all our community members will take some or the other things from this particular podcast. And since you have a huge experience, but again, the things how you have break it down, it was quite simple and easy to understand. I'm pretty sure that we all will love to hear more and see you more in our podcast or other panel discussions as well in future. But once again, thank you for your time. It was really great connecting with you and talking to you about your past and about your journey.
Thank you, Prafulla. These are the sessions which helps me to recollect memories that have been carrying for a very long time. And thank you very much for hosting me today. It was a pleasure to be with you. Looking forward. And luck to you and to the team of Recruiter. All the very best.